Albanophobia. Anti-Albanian sentiment or Albanophobia is discrimination or prejudice towards Albanians as an ethnic group, described in countries with large Albanian population as immigrants, especially Greece and Italy, though in Greece the sentiment has existed mainly in the post-communist Albania era where many criminals escaped to Greece. A similar term used with the same denotation is anti-Albanianism, used in many sources similarly with Albanophobia, although its similarities and/or differences are not defined. Its opposite is Albanophilia. The term Albanophobia was coined by Anna Triandafilidou on a report analysis called Racism and Cultural Diversity in the Mass Media, published in 2002. Although the first recorded usage of the term comes from 1982 in the South Slav Journal, Volume 8 by Albanian author Archie Pieper. The report by Triandafilidou represented Albanian migrants in Greece and was followed by other researchers like Kuriotis in Greece and May in Italy. The hyphenated form Albanophobia is used on some references, apparently with the same meaning. Albanian stereotypes that formed amid the creation of an independent Albanian state, and stereotypes that formed as a result of massive immigrations from Albania and Kosovo during the 1980s and 90s, although they may differ from each other, are still both considered Albanophobic and anti-Albanian by many authors such as Triandafilidou, Bernard, Kuriotis. Albanophobia signifies a wider range of concepts that could be roughly grouped in two main categories. The stereotype by some in Greece of Albanians as criminal and degenerate in Greece has been subject of a 2001 study by the International Helsinki Federation for Human Rights and by the European Monitoring Centre on Racism and Xenophobia. It is considered that prejudices and mistreatment of Albanians to be still present in Greece. According to a 2002 statement of the Albanians are the most likely ethnic group in Greece to be killed by Greek law enforcement officials. In addition, the UMC singles out ethnic Albanians as principal targets of racism. Furthermore, the UMC found that undocumented Albanian migrants experience serious discrimination in employment, particularly with respect to the payment of wages and social security contributions. Albanians are often pejoratively named and/or called by Greeks as Turks, represented in the expression Türk Albanoi. Albanians in Greece are also classified in terms as savage, while the Greeks view themselves as civilized. Prejudicial representations of Albanians and Albanian criminality by the Greek media is largely responsible for the social construction of negative stereotypes, in contrast to the commonly held belief that Greek society is neither xenophobic nor racist. In March 2010, during an official military parade in Athens, Greek soldiers chanted, "They are Scopians, they are Albanians, we will make new clothes out of their skins." The Civil Protection Ministry of Greece reacted to this by suspending the Coast Guard officer who was in charge of the parade unit, and pledged to take tough action against the unit's members. Albanophobia in Italy is primarily related to the Albanian immigrants, mainly young adults who are stereotypically seen as criminals, drug dealers and rapists. Italian media provide a lot of space and attention to crimes committed by ethnic Albanians, even those just presumed. Ethnic tensions have simmered in the Republic of Macedonia since the end of an armed conflict in 2001, where the ethnic Albanian National Liberation Army attacked the security forces of Macedonia with the goal of securing greater rights and autonomy for the ethnic Albanian minority. The Macedonian Academy for Science and Art was accused of Albanophobia in 2009 after it published its first encyclopedia, in which was claimed that the Albanian endonym, Shqitar, means Highlander and is primarily used by other Balkan peoples to describe Albanians. If used in South Slavic languages, the endonym is considered derogatory by the Albanian community. The encyclopedia also claimed that the Albanians settled the region in the 16th century. Distribution of the encyclopedia was ceased after a series of public protests. On the 12th of April 2012, 5 ethnic Macedonian civilians were shot dead allegedly by ethnic Albanian in an attack known as the Zelozasko Lake killings. On the 16th of April 2012, in the wake of the attack, an anti-Albanian protest was held in Skopje by ethnic Macedonians, in which the participants were recorded chanting "A good Shqitar is a dead Shqitar" and gas chambers for Shqitars. On the 1st of March 2013 in Skopje, a mob of ethnic Macedonians protested against the decision to appoint Talat Xorferi, an ethnic Albanian politician, as Minister of Defense. The protest turned violent when the mob started hurling stones and also attacking Albanian bystanders and police officers alike. The police reports 3 injured civilians, 5 injured police officers and much damage to private property. Although the city hospital reported treating 5 heavily injured Albanian men, 2 of which are on intensive care unit. During this protest, part of the mob burned the Albanian flag. On the 108th anniversary of the Congress of Manastur, the Museum of the Albanian Alphabet in Bitola was vandalized, the windows and doors were broken. A poster with the words "Death to Albanians" and with the drawing of a lion cutting the heads of the Albanian double-headed eagle was placed on the front doors of the museum. 1 week after this incident, on the day of the Albanian Declaration of Independence, graffiti with the same messages as those of the previous week were placed on the Directorate of Pelistan National Park. The origins of anti-Albanian propaganda in Serbia started by the end of 19th century, and the reason for this was the claims made by Serbian state on territories that were about to be controlled by Albanians after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. By the late 19th century, Albanians were being characterized by Serbian government officials as a wild tribe with cruel instincts. Others from Serbia's intelligentsia, such as the geographer Jovan Kvajic, referred to Albanians as being the most barbarous tribes of Europe. Whereas politician Vladan Đorđević described Albanians as modern troglodytes and pre-humans, who slept in the trees with still having tails in the 19th century. On the eve of the First Balkan War 1912, Serbian media had implemented a strong anti-Albanian campaign. In 1937, the Serbian Academy of Science and Arts, and more specifically the noted Serb scholar and political figure Vasa Kubrilović, wrote a memorandum entitled "The Expulsion of the Albanians," which dealt with the methods that should be used to expel Albanians, including creating a psychosis by bribing clergymen to encourage the Albanians to leave the country, enforcing the law to the letter, secretly raising Albanian inhabited villages, ruthless application of all police regulations, ruthless collection of taxes and the payment of all private and public debts, the requisitioning of all public and municipal pasture land, the cancellation of concessions, the withdrawal of permits to exercise an occupation, dismissal from government, the demolition of Albanian cemeteries and many other methods. During the end of the 1980s and the beginning of the 1990s, on some occasions activities undertaken by Serbian officials in Kosovo have been marked as Albanophobic. The Serbian media during Milosevic's era was known to espouse Serb nationalism while promoting xenophobia toward the other ethnicities in Yugoslavia. Ethnic Albanians were commonly characterized in the media as anti-Yugoslav counter-revolutionaries, rapists, and a threat to the Serb nation. During the Kosovo War, Serbian forces continually discriminating Kosovo Albanians. Throughout Kosovo, the forces of the FRY and Serbia have harassed, humiliated, and degraded Kosovo Albanian civilians through physical and verbal abuse. Policemen, soldiers, and military officers have persistently subjected Kosovo Albanians to insults, racial slurs, degrading acts, beatings, and other forms of physical mistreatment based on their racial, religious, and political identification. A survey in Serbia showed that 40% of the Serbian population would not like Albanians to live in Serbia, while 70% would not enter into a marriage with an Albanian individual. The same exists in Albania towards Serbs. In recent times, prominent politician Jeremic, in his comments on Twitter about the rights and wrongs of the Kosovo dispute, compared Albanians to the evil orcs of the movie The Hobbit.